In this video, we're going to talk about how to add a forum to your class. So here I am in a class. I'm going to turn editing mode on, and then I'm going to add an activity or resource in the topic that I want the forum to show up in. And here's the forum activity. So first I'm going to put in a name, and I would recommend not using forum in the name, so not like chapter 1 forum, because that is listed because that's the tool name, so call it something else. I'm going to put a description in here. What do you want the students to do in this forum? What do you want them to reply to? What do you want them to say? Those type of things in a good description. Forum types, there's another video on the different forum types, but I can tell you most of the time the standard forum for general use is going to be what you're going to use. Availability, so we have two dates here. The due date, which is the expected date that the students should reply back to this or post to this forum, whatever you're having them do by that date. So if I enable that, that will be the date that they should finish up. And then a cutoff date is when the computer imposes that no longer will they be able to post to that. I usually put these as the same, but you may give a grace period with that. Attachments and word counts. If you allow attachments, and adding attachments to a forum is a good idea if it's a discussion forum that they're going to be using articles or reference materials. Have them post those to it so you can change the size, the number. This is displaying a word count to them and to you about how many words they've posted in the forum, so you can choose to use that or not. Typically that feels a little too artificial, and I don't usually use that within mine. Subscriptions and tracking. This is how the students can track or get replies to this. One of the nice things is it has the ability to send out emails about new postings with this. And so there's a couple of different options here, and you can always click on the little help file and it'll show you here optional subscriptions. Participants can choose whether they're subscribed. That is the most common, and that is the one I would recommend. For subscription, everyone is subscribed and cannot unsubscribe. I'd be very cautious about using that and overburden the students with the amount that they see. Auto subscribed, everyone is subscribed initially but can choose to unsubscribe. That is probably my second option down from optional and auto subscribe are the two kind of leading. And then subscriptions are disabled, which typically we don't use. So we're going to pick one of those. Read tracking optional. So you can either turn it off or let it be optional. That is, they can see whether they've seen all the new postings and that type of thing. And I typically leave this as optional. Discussion locking, you can lock it after a period. So if we lock it after a day, if no one's posted in that period, it locks it up. Not typical in a class discussion, but it would be nice if we are, for instance, including something the first week of class and you have a lot of discussions. You want them to still be able to read that, but not have new ones posted in there which you may not see or other people may not see. So you could post that after a certain time and kind of lock that out. Not very common one to use. Post threshold blocking. If we pick this, it gives us a time period and a number of posts that the student can make. So this can keep a student from just flooding the discussion board with a bunch of posts, which can overwhelm other students. So you could set this at a given date or given number of posts, and you can post it for a warning and then blocking. So if you make more than 3 posts a day, it would give you a warning within this forum, and then after you do another 4, it blocks you, for instance. Not very common to use, but it is there as a tool. The Turnitin plagiarism software would allow them to get a plagiarism report back from their postings within the forum. It can be useful. if they're pulling their answers from other locations. Whole form grading and ratings are good ways to grade these forms, and there is another video on the whole form grading. That is probably the #1 recommended way to grade these. It works very well. Common module settings is just, we can do this as a group mode, and so you can use groups and groupings. So if you want to look at that, that is a good thing to do if you have the students talking in group. We can restrict access just like any other activity, and then activity completion, you can include those things as well. So if I save and display, that is adding this to a course, and so then the students could use these as needed.